Welcome to This Week in Music. My name's Ian Rogers. I'm here in Santa Barbara today at the offices of Sonos. For those who don't know, Sonos is the wireless hi-fi player that is in my house, maybe in your house. It's in 400,000 homes around the world, more than 1 million pieces sold. And today we're going to meet with their CEO, John MacFarlane. Stay tuned.
I feel good, even though I shouldn't. I'm chilling so hard, couldn't tell you where the hood is. I'm looking like $1 million, sucker.
Welcome back to This Week in Music. I'm Ian Rogers, and I'm in Santa Barbara today with John MacFarlane from Sonos. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Ian.
So we're here. This is beautiful.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to work hard, you want to play hard too.
Exactly. So how did you end up at Sonos? How long have you been here? I'd like a little bit on your history for starters.
I was one of the founders. So there were a set of us, 1, 2, 3, 4, who kind of were kicking around trying to dig up the right next thing to work on. We'd all come off of different places, and
this is around what year?
This was 2002.
And what were those things that the founders had done? Like, you're all coming from different places, but from what angles are you coming?
Those 4 all came from a company I founded called Software.com, and it turned into OpenWave, which did the browsers before the iPhone, email and services for cable companies, mobile companies. There was a guy who came from, he did Front Page, if you remember that.
Yeah.
Vermeer was one of the founders.
Microsoft Front Page? Like what became Microsoft Front Page?
Yeah, Microsoft bought him.
Microsoft bought it.
And he went up there and worked for a while and started SharePoint, and then moved back to Cambridge. Most of that team moved back because that team was in Cambridge, and Microsoft bought them, and then they moved back, and we grabbed a bunch of them and got a wonderful woman from Philips Design Center who did the industrial design. So kind of eclectic set of people, and we got, locked ourselves in a room for a couple of days, and or couple of months, literally, and there were some big fights, but took a clean sheet of paper and redesigned the home stereo for the future.
But why? So you guys are doing internet applications, prior, software. Why go into hardware? Why music?
Yeah,
especially
well,
at that time.
Hardware was hard.
You're talking 2002.
Yeah.
What was the iPod existed in 2002.
Well, you're a serial entrepreneur, so the best time to start is when everything's crashed, because you got access to really good people.
Right.
If you can get funding, and we'd all done well, so we self-funded it at the beginning, and there was just a lot of good people. So music's easy to get people passionate about, which is cool. We looked at a few different ideas. Yeah, you mean be too early, or?
Well, be too early, and also you can be more passionate about it than you actually have an audience sometimes.
Yeah, right? that's true about a lot of things, though. So hopefully you get better and better at that over the years.
I was just thinking Mark Suster he always says there's 2 things that every entrepreneur wants to tackle. One is music, and the other one is food.
Yeah. Right.
We all love music. We all love to eat, and there's sort of a a surplus of those startups. But so you guys are
like the grilled cheese company that
the robotic grilled cheese company. Yeah, that's a hey, come on.
No, it's good. It's cool. You just hit center to food, Yeah. Funny enough, we knew the internet well, and when we looked at the home, the internet was in the home, broadband was starting, but it didn't do anything in the home. So we were looking hard at, what's the internet going to do to your home? Not the stuff that you're going to get on a web browser and, check your flight or buy something.
Right.
It was, and entertainment pops right up. And of course, the first thing you think of in entertainment is movies. But the rights holders and the content, just weren't. That was going to be an uphill battle, clearly. In music, Napster had happened. So
it had already been unlocked in some ways, because it was legal to pull your music off of your CDs.
It was,
so you knew you could get access to the
although,
content.
there had been those battles, like MP3.com did the unlock service and got sued, and the original Napster, had been sued out of existence. So you know, there were some warning signs, but we figured the cat was, or the you know, Pandora's box had been opened, so to say, and people, and you know, there's this whole generation of people that was getting out of high school or college that only had experienced all the music ever made on their PC.
Yeah.
They were listening to it through their powered speakers, but they weren't buying the stereo, you know, that we bought when we got out of college. And so you could clear you know, the industry had done this turn. It's just, and you could see it in the numbers too, because 2-channel audio quarter on quarter was declining from about 2000 on. And so it was pretty clear to us that this group had picked a different direction than the whole industry had noticed. And those are the kinds of things you want to go after as a small company, because all the big companies were starting in harvest mode in the stereos and stuff like that, and they were starting to go after home theater, not anything new.
Right.
And you know, we got dumb lucky because in 2002 the iPod wasn't, I mean, I wish I could tell you I could see what it was going to do, but we didn't. And luckily Steve Jobs and that thing really accelerated digital music, because we would have never done it. So. And
you guys started working right around the time that the iPod really just sort of first started happening.
The mechanical iPod, I think, came out right around the time that, and we looked at it and went, yeah, you know, nice for Apple people, but you know, small market.
That was definitely, I remember it as well, nice for Apple people.
And it was pretty expensive, you know, that first iPod was pretty expensive too. So
relative to the other MP3 players that had been around for a couple of years. You know, the Rios and whatnot.
Yeah, it was a funny time. We went to the CES, I think in January of 2003, and walked up to this one group of people we knew that were making one of the digital media receivers, and we were pretty open about what we were going to do, because you know, it wasn't like we were going to, those ideas had been out. We weren't going to surprise anybody. And the guy that was running one of the companies, and I can't remember which company it was, but it was one of the digital media receivers, he said, "You guys are dead. It's over." You know, and of course it hadn't even started yet. You know, I'd say it's now 2011 and it's finally starting.
Or as you know, Mark Geiger, you know, says it's you know, he thinks it's, you know, maybe we're in the locker room right now.
Yeah, exactly.
But, you know, nobody's really on the field yet.
Yeah, and I remember that fellow coming up to us and going, "You guys are dead. You're dead. I don't know what you're thinking."
those were just training days.
Yeah. And his product won you know, best new product at CES that year too.
Right. And so it was a while before you got a product out the door, though, right?
Yeah. You know, we had a couple of philosophies at the beginning. We were going to aim at non-technical people, because all the products out at that point were, you know, really geeky products. So you know, they spoke IP numbers, and they, you know, you had to know networking and everything to set it up. And when we all got together, and Mieko, the woman that runs design here, really drilled in, you know, this thing has to be simple, and we all bought into that. And so making something really simple and easy to use is a lot of work. So I'd say the biggest arguments at the beginning was, you know, here's all the things you can do. These, you know, these inputs, play these formats, be this flexible. And, you know, the big fights were over reducing it down to the most simple thing. So, you know, we wanted to get music in every room, and then we wanted to be able to play anything off your collection, or eventually anything off the internet. You know, and at that point, internet radio was everything off the internet, but we knew services would come.
Right.
And
Rhapsody existed.
Rhapsody was, Listen.com hadn't even bought them yet, had they? They might have been in existence, but
I thought they would have been around. Yeah, I thought, you know,
you're probably right. It was right around. They were teeny, though. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I could easily be wrong,
Savage Beast was around. So Pandora was around. Yeah. There were a few. And so we put a pretty complete spec together, and then beavered away, and the product didn't come out until 2005. So.
And what was the initial pitch? Was it music Here's a box that's going to let you play music everywhere. It didn't have speakers at the point, right? You hooked some speakers
the first
into it?
product didn't have speakers. You know, at that
little
time,
box. You connected
yeah, it was
to
a little
pair of
box.
speakers.
You got as many as you wanted, up to 32. Put them around the house. It made a wireless network that you didn't even, you didn't have to put anything in. We even made a controller at that time. We now call it our Russian iPod, if you've seen it. So
Right.
it had a scroll ring.
Yep, I remember.
Which, of course, I got threatened to be sued by Steve Jobs the first time he saw it. So, you had this remote control color screen, and you could pick what you wanted and pick which room and play it.
And who were the customers at that point?
When we first
Was it a home automation type of crowd, or was it?
No. It's always been self-installed, because we have a lot of installers now, but at that time, they were pretty wed to these, Crestron or AMX or these fully integrated things, and we didn't fit in that world, because we were really simple. If you like music, it was great, but we didn't control your vacuum cleaner or your lighting system. Or
I have
heat,
Control
right?
4, so I know. I've lived through what you're talking about. Yeah.
But we don't do any of that. We just do music well.
Yeah.
And so it was self-installers, Walt Mossberg wrote his review and set up his own unit, I think right on release. And,
I remember that, actually.
Yeah, so most of the sales at the beginning were right off our web. So most of the retailers still had 2-channel audio and home theater, and they didn't know what to do with us. What is that thing?
Yeah.
So at the beginning of 2005, the online sales were way ahead, and by the end of 2005, Best Buy had this thing they were beginning called the Magnolia Home Theater Center.
Yeah.
And we fit right into that, and we were, I think, the #1 or #2 SKU. So then it just worked. Tweeter picked it up, if you remember them. They're not around anymore, and they ran with it. So it just kind of was a groundswell.
So let's fast forward to now. How has the product offering changed up to this point?
Yeah, the biggest change came out in, let's see, I'd say there were 2 big changes. One is when the iPhone came out and the applications came out for it. And so we put a controller on the iPhone, and that's by far the iPhone or the Android is how people control it, or the iPad. Yeah, now. So there was that piece, and then the all-in-one unit, which is called our Play 5, and that came out in the end of 2009. And then you had a product you could walk into the store, grab the box, walk out, plug it in, turn it on, and play Pandora anywhere, or Rhapsody, or Napster.
They're amazing.
Whatever.
We have 5 of those in our office, and I have a couple in my home as well. I mean, they're
Have
amazing.
you tried the pair? You can turn one into a left and one into a right?
No, I haven't
it's
done
awesome.
That. No, we just have them on 4 walls and one in the lounge at the office.
Oh, the pair is cool.
And
That's what Rick Rubin helped us a bunch with. So how those
he
sound.
wanted the stereo, the stereo feel.
Yeah.
Rick Rubin, who's on your board of advisors.
Yeah, we were talking about him earlier.
And who else is on the board of advisors, may I ask?
Mark Geiger just joined, so we're pretty honored to have him. And Mark and Rick had started helping Sonos many years ago. So
yeah, I know Rick's been an evangelist for many years.
He's
is there anyone else
guy.
to mention on the board of advisors that are
just those 2 right now?
So how has it been? Like, can you give us some sense?
We have a board of directors which has like Robbie Bach and Mike Volpe on it. Robbie's the Xbox guy.
Right.
Yeah, he's incredible. Yeah.
So what's the growth been? How give us a sense of how successful is Sonos at this point?
Well, we try and double every year. We come a little short sometimes, but pretty darn close to that. So we're just shy of about $250 million in revenue. I think growth is going well. In Europe is about half, US a little less than half, and we just launched in China earlier last year. So.
Wow. You guys are focused really specifically on home audio and really music specifically. You're not going into you're not really a living room product, right? I mean, think about these.
It depends on if you're a music lover or not, but the mission of the company is fill your house with music and stream all the music ever made. They're the put it in as many rooms as you want. And the living room's a pretty important room for listening to music if you like music. So we're usually there.
Right.
But you're probably talking about with the TV.
Yeah, I'm talking about with the TV,
Yeah.
which I've watched television since 1989, so I'm definitely your target demographic.
Yeah.
But you know, I think it's interesting because you know there are a lot of people who have gone more broadly, and it's interesting to think about where you guys sit relative to an Apple TV as a product.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can't even think of a direct competitor because of your focus.
Well, probably most people would maybe buy a couple of docks.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
So it's not direct, but it's similar, or maybe a Bluetooth speaker or something like that.
Yeah, you kind of have competing ecosystems in a way.
Yeah.
Right? Like I feel like what people are going to do is, yeah, they're going to buy the dock,
Yeah.
and then they've got their iPod or their iPhone.
Yeah.
They're going to move it from here to there
Yeah.
to there, and that ties them into the entire Apple ecosystem.
Right.
Right. Which means what they might do is go Apple TV and some Airport Express type of things throughout the house.
Yeah, I'm not a big believer in the Apple TV as a music device. I mean, I have one, I use it. Netflix is great on it. But, you know, I don't like turning my TV on to listen to music. And quite frankly, most of the sound systems with home theaters aren't designed well for music. They're designed well for the TV.
Yeah.
So I would say, you know, as we look at sound with a screen, we would come at it from how to do music really well when you're not using the TV, and then how do you do good audio with the TV when it's on.
Right.
Whereas all the folks in home theater receivers do it the reverse, right? Yeah. And I mean, you know, if you try music on a 321, it's not a great experience. You know, Bose 321, but it's a fine home theater receiver. So. For some reason, those two things separated. Like I said, I think the old vendors thought that the two-channel audio was dying, and so they got into home theater, and then they just didn't worry too much about music.
Yeah, and I think I really like the focus. I think it's really interesting that you guys have focused there. Let me give you my own experience, and then I'll ask. I have another question related to it. Because I didn't have Sonos for a long time because, as I mentioned, I have Control 4. Mm-hmm. And Control 4 has Rhapsody integration, kind of. Yeah. And, you know, they've always had kind of an MP3 player integration, but it really is the streaming subscription service integration that blows your mind. Yeah. And I want to come back to that. It's a whole category we should talk about. But what I've found now is that because Sonos is such a great pure audio experience, and I can connect it to all the services that I want to connect to, that I've actually put a Sonos in connected to my Control 4. Yeah. Right? And that's so interesting because I wouldn't have imagined 5 years ago that would be the path. I would have thought more of competitive, but now because you guys have focused on the audio, you've opened it up to be, oh, well, that's a necessary component as part of my home automation system. Is that, I mean, it seems like
that happens. I would say by far the most common is people using it that don't have home automation systems.
They just want one thing to play music.
There's a little segment that does what you do that ties us into their automation system, and they do it exactly the way you do it. And then in that scenario, we're the easiest way to choose and play music. So you know if you like Wolfgang's Vault, you can go dig through that at your dinner table and really enjoy it, or Rhapsody or Pandora.
Well, it seems like you wouldn't want people to have to make a choice between you and Apple or you and something else.
I don't think you have to choose. You get an Apple TV, and that's for your TV. Apple's had this old thing called, I forgot what it's, AirTunes, and then it's now AirPlay, which is both video, movement, and audio. But AirPlay for music is really just around the dock. It replaces the dock with a wireless dock, so you've got your iPhone and you can say, play to this. But you can't play to multiple places. You can't, you walk out of the house, it stops playing. Yeah. So it's kind of an extension off the dock. You can, in some scenarios, set up a PC and run iTunes, the application, and stream it. Yeah. And then you can install an app on an iPhone and remote control it, but that's a lot of complexity. And if this computer sleeps, it doesn't work. And so I don't think Apple would say, we have a music solution. I think they have a really good streaming TV solution. And I'm one of the believers that thinks they'll make a TV, and it'll be a great one
as well.
But I think we'll work great with that. So we have lots of, I would say we work really well with the Apple ecosystem. Can always do a little better. Like, we have an integration with AirPlay, and it's not as good as I would like it, because they weren't willing to support multi-room grouping. They were really after the dock market, which I totally get, because that was the mainstream for them. But if you go to a Sonos customer and say you can't group 2 rooms together with the same material, go home. We took a modified path to AirPlay, but you can group it in. But I'd say we have a huge overlap with Apple.
And you guys are focused on 2-channel audio in the.
And by the way, we wouldn't exist if
space.
Apple didn't push the music. I mean,
no, it's true. Yeah, if they hadn't
yeah.
Pushed it to where it is, and
so
where we all
I wake up every morning
these
thanking
little
them.
White earbuds that Will's wearing right now.
Exactly.
So you guys are pushing hard on the audio market, and really assuming that people are going to want great audio systems in their house. We've heard rumors of Apple pushing a high fidelity solution. Places like Topspin, we do a lot of business with high fidelity audio. Do you guys see they're becoming? I would like to think that
they pushed
people care.
Once.
People care about audio quality, and that where will you guys fit in this world where people are passionate about their audio quality?
Yeah, are you talking about new formats for the music, or are you talking about actually physical hardware?
Well, the combo, right? Let's assume that Apple starts doing what the rest of us are doing and selling 24-bit audio, lossless files.
Yeah, they did an interesting thing, because they opened their lossless file format, which was cool.
Very cool.
So yeah, they're doing some stuff along that.
But do you think hardware then will follow, where we're going to have kind of?
We always supported that. So I mean, I don't think that changed. The question is, where does it evolve after that? I would still say the bigger challenge on the music quality is if you're compressing at 128 kilobits per second, from a streaming service, that's your bigger pipe limitation. That's your bigger quality limitation than 24 bits or something else. So
absolutely.
I think the whole thing has to get better. We play a piece, because the better, like the stereo pair, I'd argue is almost as good as a professional monitor, and so we're getting to the spot where we're reproducing the audio really well. And that was the big problem in digital music for quite a while. You could buy this computer gadget that would play it, but if you turn the volume all the way down, you'd hear the hiss, and the quality wasn't quite there. Yeah. But I think the services now have to come up to speed on that front.
Well, let's talk about the services. I mean, over the course of the time that you guys have been in business, the landscape has changed dramatically. And at the same time, as you and I both agree, we're at the very start of that. Yeah. I mean, I think that I really believe that anyone who has the Sonos Plus subscription service experience, whether it's Spotify or Mog or Rdio or Rhapsody or Pandora, or as you said, going further down, Wolfgang's Vault even. Yeah. The moment you have that experience, not only that, it changes your consumption pattern. I have a friend of my wife who the other night said, she's like, Ian, you listen to so much music. I wish I listened to music. And I just said one thing to her. I just said, just go get a Sonos.
Yeah, I know.
Just go get a Sonos. You will listen to more music.
Yeah.
So talk about that. How is that?
I'll give you a really interesting data point. This time I looked up just before I walked over, and maybe I think I looked at about December 15th. I looked at a week last year. And our customers streamed 8 times as much music, 8 minutes of music for every 1 minute off their local library. So it tells you how much, that's a radical difference, right?
So wait, these are, so your per customer streaming time is greater, or aggregate streaming time?
Average over all our customers that week, they listened to 8 minutes of streaming subscription streaming versus 1 minute of their local library.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a huge deal. Yeah.
And well, and what a great use case. I mean, have you? I mean, you guys have been aggressive. I mean, nobody integrates the number of streaming services that you guys do. What's your what's your philosophy been relative to the services that are out there?
We have a couple of different views. One is the economics. We want them to be successful, so we go to Spotify and we'll integrate with them, but we don't ask them for any revenue or anything. We just want them to be successful because they're all getting started, and Spotify's getting quite large. Pandora's getting past critical mass. But, there's lots. I mean, classical is an area completely unserved. So you don't want to steal a bunch of revenue from them. You want them to be successful.
Right.
And we want a great experience for the customers listening to music. So we really try and work hard and make the service work well with the system. So you're not, trying to figure out anything other than which music you want to listen to.
Yeah. And is there anything about, what do you think is next for the integration with you and services? Are there particular types of services
you and
that
Mark
are
Geiger were talking about this, and it's really exciting because I think once everybody has a subscription service, then the world of really interesting apps on top. I mean, like Turntable FM is a really cool service, right? And they got mired because now they have to go back and license all the music.
Yeah.
And once you can treat a subscription service as a utility, the world is so cool. I mean, think about the wake-up apps and the
turntable on top of one of the services.
I mean, you just unleash it.
Yeah.
I was nice enough to get invited down to talk to Lucian Grange when he was Lucian Grange when he was just getting started at Universal in LA, and he asked me what I thought of the music industry, and I said, it's a great time. There are more people listening to more music than ever before. You just got to unlock the innovation, and I think they're getting there. They're not quite there yet, but they're getting there.
The deal that EMI and Echo Nest announced this week is on the right, giving developers a sandbox.
Yeah.
It's what we've been talking about for years.
I know, I know, because there's, how many entrepreneurs' graves are in music, great music ideas,
Yeah.
And Echo Nest, perfect example, super good idea,
know. I mean, it's what, even Rio, who is now at Vivo, he and I talked about this when he was at UMG. How can we build an API so that anyone can build on top of it? And maybe the Spotifys of the world will get there where there's a ubiquitousness of these services, so therefore you can build.
And that's exactly what we did. We just made an API, and so anybody can take it and integrate and get access to the entire Sonos audience, and that's great.
So if Turntable wanted to integrate a consumption experience, how hard would that be for them to do? Just to use an
really
example.
Straightforward.
Because I want to listen to my Indie One and Done station on my Sonos.
The RDO guys are a great example. They really did a nice job integrating and did it with no help from us, got up and running and launched in 3 months.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, and it's they even had social networking built into it. It was really cool.
I was going to ask you that as well. Is one of the things that's great about Sonos is that you're not experiencing it with just your headphones.
Yeah, we call it listening out loud again.
Yeah, you're listening with other human beings.
Yeah. Isn't that the way it was always supposed to be?
Is there a?
I like my earbuds too, but I really like.
When I'm running, I want my earbuds, but when I'm in the office, I want to subject other people to Slayer.
Exactly.
It's
not as much fun unless no sleep till Brooklyn.
Exactly. But do you think is there some sort of a combination? Will you guys do anything with with social and online, or will you leave that to the services?
That's a really good question, and I don't know the answer. I would look at what Facebook is doing right now as like the next generation of Last.fm. I mean, because Last.fm had this wonderful idea of scrobbling, and we can scrobble anything on your Sonos. So if you listen to your local library, you listen to whatever, and you turn scrobbling on, you can listen.
Gotcha.
And that's the same thing Facebook is really doing. And there's some really good things that come out of that for the customers. Now, I think the kind of secret sauce in the social networking isn't quite cracked yet, because I would say my music influencers, the people I draw from, are not all my Facebook friends. It's a set.
Yeah.
So I would kind of say the Google Plus and the Google Circles model fits a little better for music, because I don't want to push out what I'm listening to my whole Facebook audience, or listen to all of them. I want a subset, and I think Facebook will get there, and I think that's when it'll really start catching on.
And where does Sonos fit into that, though? I mean, will
it's
that...
a good question. I think we'll feed some of that, because we can scrabble or collect all that information and feed it up if you want to. And certainly any of the services you're using can use that to help you figure out what you want to do, because the problem you run into when you can play anything ever made is, what then do you play?
Right.
And that's a really important problem to solve, which is what Echo Nest is going after. But I think the work that Facebook is doing and others like it is key to that, right?
So
we don't really. Again, we want to fill your house with music. So what we're trying to do is get the pieces in the house that are where you want to listen to music, and then we want to make the experience awesome. So whether we do that piece or the service does, as long as it's done well, we don't have a big dog. We don't have a big bone in that.
Yeah. What else? Before we wrap up, I'm just curious. Like, what can we expect? Like, what's coming next? Can you give us a preview of what we're going to see at CES?
Well, CES is not a good place to show products because it's in January. You know? But we've got more products to make better sound. There's some things coming you'll totally dig next year.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and you guys just released a new product for this holiday season.
We did, a little
Play
brother
3.
to the Play 5, the Play 3.
Yeah.
So brought the price down to $299 and let us get into Target. So we're in all the Target stores, along with all the Best Buy stores. So that kind of brought it a little more broader distribution.
Yeah, that's the thing people should go buy for their 15-year-old and stick in their room.
Yeah, exactly. And you compare them too. So you can have one and it's a great combo.
I sent one to my daughter for her dorm room.
Mm-hmm.
She can't make it work there.
Oh, because the college won't let her?
Because the network there. It has nothing to do with Sonos. It has to do with the dorm network.
They have to allow it. Yeah.
No, it's complicated. They have a lot of rules on the college network these days.
Yeah.
But
if they don't recognize the network thing, they kick it off.
Exactly. But I
Usually they'll
thought
allow
perfect
Sonos,
dorm
though.
device. That was my thought.
Yeah.
Well, thankfully she'll be out of the dorm in another few months, so she'll get her Sonos on then.
Cool. I'll have to talk to those MIT people.
Yeah,
because a lot of our
Come
folks
on,
are
guys.
MIT. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time.
Awesome.
I'll let you get back to work.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks.
I'll see you again.
I feel good, even though I shouldn't. I'm chilling so hard, couldn't tell you where the hood is. I'm looking like $1 million, sucker.